Have you ever cooked a meal without tossing a single thing away? Imagine peeling a potato and keeping the skin, or slicing an onion and thinking, could I eat all of this? But what if I told you there's a restaurant so committed to zero waste that it doesn't even have a bin? Like this. Well, what do I do with this? I don't know, but you can't use that. Welcome to Silo, the groundbreaking no-waste restaurant in Hackney, London, where every single scrap is transformed, reused, or eaten. Let's dive into how they do it.
Silo is better known to be the world's first zero waste restaurant, and for me it is an expression of the future of food, one in which humans recognize the importance of nature and we find food systems designed around that. Silo has been doing zero waste for about 12 or 13 years, trading in England for 10 years. I definitely felt like, am I mad? Because no one else is listening. People thought it was just some like quirky, weird, hipster bullshit. And then eventually, surviving by the skin of my teeth, Blue Planet came out and it revealed or exposed plastic pollution in the ocean. I'm telling you, that was the biggest landmark in zero waste success into the mainstream.
So how did you make it mainstream?
One thing we try and do at Silo is make zero waste or make sustainability sexy. It's like, if we can make our food taste good or taste better than our peers, then that's exciting. If we can make the experience fun, thrilling, if the playlists are good, if the menu's creative, if the staff are having a good time and there's this positive energy radiating from this space, that's pretty sexy. Now, when sustainability becomes sexy, that's a game changer. I can't tell you the amount of times people have said, it's a trend. I'm like, no, it's not. How can something that is fundamental to this whole planet be a trend? Like, waste is a human thing. We have literally designed it in the last, arguably 200 years. Everything before that was zero waste. You know, industrialization has birthed waste. So yeah, zero waste is not a trend.
Any unused bits of food from the restaurant is sent to their very own fermentation plant, where they can make it into koji to add to their other dishes. But what is koji?
The real definition of it is it's a filamentous fungi that you cultivate on grains. It needs a kind of starchy medium to grow. It's a fungal variety that was actually discovered on the sides of waterfalls in Southeast Asia, specifically in China. Why koji is really important, or kind of what its significance is it has a lot of enzymes that allow you to take proteins in, say, traditionally soybeans and starches in rice and then convert them into sugars. Pretty much everything on the menu has koji in some way, shape or form, whether that's something in a simple way like amazake, which is literally just rice koji and water, a bit more rice. You ferment it for about a day, 60 degrees. It becomes this super sweet, super delicious, almost like rice porridge. And that forms the basis of a lot of our sauces, but also our desserts as well.
So, what is fermentation?
What fermentation is here, it's taking stuff with very little value, so scraps and trim, and being able to transform those things into something of immense value, something that can provide a lot of flavour, a lot of nutrition, but really what we try to do here is absorb as much of everything into the system as possible, whether that's food waste, materials, so wine bottles, so on and so forth.
You heard it. They even use old wine bottles to make into plates that you can eat on. So there really is zero waste. I wouldn't even know where to start with a zero waste meal. Let's meet someone who would, the head chef.
My name's William Stuart, I'm the head chef here at Silo London. What inspired me to come to Silo was just the way that food was looked at and systems were in place to actually care for people but also care for nature. That symbiotic relationship is out of balance quite a lot in restaurants. But here, Doug's mentality is to keep that symbiotic relationship always.
How do you even come up with these recipe ideas?
The menu changes on micro levels every day. When your main passion is to be as sustainable as possible, that breeds so much creativity naturally. you're always thinking of like, what can you do next? And you always taste something and how can I extract a different flavour and put something into something else? Our pumpkin dish, for example, everything is about pumpkin in it, but the unique flavours from each component of a pumpkin is a well thought through and balanced process which takes weeks and months to really hone in that skill.
So, Will, what's the most popular dish?
The quaver, that will always be the most popular dish. It's the perfect representation of silo in a mouthful, and it's the first thing you'll get when you come here to dine. It's a dish that Doug said, he said we can do whatever you want with the menu if it's better than what's already on. And me and Ryan have had no chance of ever beating that dish. It is so, so good.
What cool things do you use to make sure you stick to zero waste?
So here we've got our flour mill. Chef Doug bought this with the purpose of using everything. So in the bottom here we can collect all the bran, and out here will come flour. I warn you for the sound.
That is cool. Can we see the fermentation part of the restaurant?
So we'll go through to the dry store and then through to our fermentation area.
Nice.
So in here it's a real standard dry store. Everything, as you can see, is categorised into the grains, the oats, the corns, the seeds, the ocean, and then through here is where the magic of silo happens. This is our fermentation area, which Ryan and Doug have spent years developing, and in here we have so many different things. The majority of the stuff in here is koji-based fermentation, and this is all done with proteins or starches, really.
Doug, any final words?
The greatest challenge around implementing zero waste systems is simply perception. It's the perception of our consumers, it's the perception of our peers and audience and the industry at large. It's a perception that, you know, what the hell is a zero waste restaurant? You know, we need to tell a story that communicates that. And that's been a decade of my life. I found myself more as a communicator than anything, whether that's through social media, whether that's talking to you today, whether that's writing a book. It's trying to open people's minds up to realizing that in a sustainable future, we need to think differently. And that includes understanding nature. It doesn't matter if it's called zero waste. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter how well it's done. It matters that people see clearly and care. Hopefully, our existence demonstrates beauty from that awareness, that clarity. Like, this is a beautiful project. These are beautiful people running this project. And it's because of that very clear vision that this is really what's occurring in this environment, in nature, and we should really do something about it. And we can do it and it'd be beautiful, and it can taste amazing and feel amazing.